Once upon a time, in a faraway village, a woman prayed for many years to carry a child. Her womb was silent, her arms were empty. After many attempts with herbs and potions, she finally sought a soothsayer, who, after consulting with the spirits, assured her not to worry, for the gods were preparing something good for her. Relieved and comforted, she returned home with joy in her heart. Months later, her joy multiplied when she conceived. The pregnancy blessed her with a radiant glow, and everyone who saw her marveled at how beautiful she had become. When the baby was born, her cry was not like other children. It was sweet to the ear, flowing like a gentle song. Even the midwife stood still and marveled. She was named Ugomma. From childhood, it was clear that Ugomma was no ordinary child. Her beauty was like the morning sun, gentle but commanding. And her voice, when she sang, warriors laid down their spears, mothers ceased their quarrels, and the sick forgot their pain. Even spirits in the forest were said to pause to listen. Her voice was nourishment to the soul, soothing and complete. The people whispered, "This child is touched by the gods. She is the voice of the land." As Ugomma grew, her gifts grew brighter. Travelers came from all corners to listen to her sing. She sang for the royal household, lending her voice to every celebration in the palace. At village gatherings too, her singing spread through the air like the lingering scent of rare perfume, soft and enchanting. The people loved her dearly and showered her with gifts: cowries, livestock, and baskets of food. Even the king himself honored her with rich rewards, for her voice was like a blessing to all who heard it. Old women clapped and blessed her. The young men followed her with their eyes. Children danced behind her when she sang in the fields. Her mother, swollen with pride at her daughter's fame, sat her down one day and said, "My beautiful daughter, my gifted child, you are the sun and moon of this land. Without you, there would be only darkness. Ugom, you are too special to be offering your gifts so freely. Be mindful of those you sing for and the occasions you grace. Make yourself rare. Make yourself valuable. Do not let your light be everywhere." Those words were like seeds planted in her soul, and slowly, they sprouted. Ugomma changed, no longer the humble songbird of the people. She began to demand heavy payments for her voice. A song that once flowed freely now came at a very heavy price. Baskets of yams, or goats, or even a small bag of gold. And still, that was not all. She began charging by the minute. "My voice belongs to kings and noblemen," she would boast proudly. The poor of the village, who once found comfort in her melodies, could no longer afford to hear her sing. Her father noticed the change in her. One evening, He called her close and said gently, "My daughter, the gods gave you this gift freely. Use it freely. A gift from the gods is not for sale. Do not let pride sit in your heart, for pride goes before a fall." Yet, Ugomma turned a deaf ear. Even her friends tried to advise her, but she only laughed and said, "You are jealous because you have no gift of your own." Then came the festival of rain, the holiest of days, held once every year. On that day, the people gathered to petition the gods for fertile lands and overflowing barns. Tradition demanded that after the priest's libation, the maiden blessed by the gods would sing, and the heavens would answer with gentle showers. The festival could not be complete without the maiden's voice. Since she was a little girl, Ugomma had sung at this festival, and always her voice opened the heavens. But this year, Ugomma's pride had reached its peak. She sent a message. Unless her demands were met, she would not sing. She demanded for a cow, no longer a goat this time, a bag of gold, baskets of yam, and expensive fabrics. Her mother continued to encourage her, proud of the wealth and recognition Ugomma was gathering. But her father was deeply troubled. Many times he reprimanded her, saying, "A stubborn fly follows the corpse to the grave. The grasshopper that is killed by a noisy bird must be deaf." Yet Ugomma paid him no mind. Her heart puffed up with pride. Then came the day. The square was filled with people. Traders closed their stores. Farmers washed and wore their best wrappers. Children clung to their mothers. The king sat in majesty, the elders in their finest clothes. The drums spoke, the flutes answered. The dancers shook their waists till the earth shook. The king looked proud. The chief priest, a wise old man, stood tall with his staff. His eyes clouded, yet sharp with wisdom. After the libations had been poured, and the sacred prayers lifted to the gods, it was time for the sacred song. The song that was meant to seal the covenant between the people and their gods. All eyes turned, waiting for Ugomma to step forward. But Ugomma was nowhere to be found. At that very moment, Ugomma was still in her room, her face bent over a polished bronze mirror. She was still painting her face. She adjusted her hair, smiling at her own reflection. Pride swelled in her heart, not for the sacred duty that awaited her, but for her beauty and the power her voice had given her. Back in the village square, the king grew restless and agitated. The elders whispered. The villagers murmured angrily. But the chief priest raised his staff and said, "Be still, the gods are not blind. Today you shall see the wonders of their hand." At last, Ugomma appeared. She walked slowly, proudly, like a queen late to her own wedding. She carried her head high and looked down on the people. She raised her voice, parted her lips, and began to sing. But what came out was not a sweet melody. It was croaking, like the cry of a frog in the swamp. She coughed. She cleared her throat. She tried again and again. But the honey was gone. The voice of gold had turned to the voice of gravel. The crowd gasped. Her mother rushed forward, wailing. Her father covered his face in shame. The king shook his head. The people shouted in confusion and shock. But the priest stood calm, his eyes blazing like fire. The priest lifted his staff high. Slowly, he turned and pointed to the edge of the crowd. There stood a quiet girl with her old grandmother. Her name was Ogenna. She was known by few, loved truly by only her grandmother, the only family she knew. She sang only when she worked on the farm, or when she fetched water, or to comfort her grandmother at night. The people laughed nervously. Her? She has never sung before. But the priest thundered. The gods despise pride. They crown the humble. Come forward, child, and sing. Ogenna trembled. Her knees knocked together. She whispered, I cannot. But her grandmother pushed her gently and said, Go, my child. Did I not tell you that you will be great one day? Ogenna stepped forward, her heart beating like a drum. Everywhere grew still. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. The rustling of leaves stopped. The clucking of hens ceased. And even babies, as though they understood the weight of the moment, fell silent in their mother's arms. She closed her eyes, opened her mouth. Her voice was unlike anything ever heard before. It rose like smoke to the heavens. It flowed like honey from the lips of the gods, sweet yet powerful, wrapping itself around every soul that heard it. It was as though a spirit from the other world was singing through her. Men wept openly. Women fell to their knees. And then the skies opened. Gentle rain began to fall, blessing the earth. The people shouted with joy. The king stood and clapped his hands. The priest lowered his staff and whispered, The gods choose whomever they please. Ugomma fell to the ground and wept bitterly. Her pride had stolen her gift. Her mother wept too, for she knew her own words had led her daughter astray. From that day, Ogenna became the new voice of the land. She sang not for riches, but for the love of her people and in honor of the gods. And though her fame spread through the kingdom, her heart remained gentle and humble. The lessons to learn are these. Pride destroys even the greatest gifts. Every gift has a purpose. Misuse it and it may be taken away forever. And life honors humility above arrogance.